You're listening to the African Clay Girl podcast. All right, so thank you for supporting the first episode that we did. And if you didn't get a chance to watch that, you can always go to the playlist. So, without further ado, here we go with our second podcast. So, our second question is, why is there so much shame around clay eating? I know everyone's going to have their different opinions because we all have gone through that phase where someone made us feel really bad about our addiction. So I'm going to give you my opinion as usual. So the reason why I feel like there's so much shame around clay eating is because people don't understand the craving. They don't understand why all of a sudden we have this sudden craving for clay. And I feel like when they look at us and the way we eat clay, it looks dirty. So already you're being looked at as an impure person, right? That's my point of view. Like, that's what I see. So I've heard people tell me that, oh, clay eating is unholy, it's close to the devil, just all kinds of theories. And eating clay has been associated to negativity, like just negative words are put on people that eat clay, right? And there's nothing really good that comes out of it. So people barely know the advantages, but we know most of the disadvantages. So I guess there's a point where we also need to be educated as well, why there's a need for clay eating, why the cravings come about, all that stuff. So this topic is really complex, but those are my opinions. I've been in certain places where I've heard women talk about their husbands don't approve of them eating clay, or their mothers don't approve, or someone just doesn't approve, but they don't tell you why. And if they do tell you why, there's always a threat behind it, right? So it kind of leaves you confused, and it kind of makes the person that's addicted to clay, it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel like something is wrong with you. It kind of like lowers your self esteem as well, because you're looked at as nothing. You're looked at as less than, right? So I feel like there's no way. I mean, if there is a way, that would be good, and I'm all for it. But there's no way to convince someone that your clay eating habit is a good thing and it's for you. That's your decision. I don't feel like anyone else should tell you what you should do. I feel like everyone needs to go through their own experience and then decide, okay, do I really want to continue this habit or should I stop? Because I feel like the constant bashing and the constant threats and the constant warnings and the constant this and that ends up making you want clay even more. Sometimes when you tell someone no, they actually go the opposite and say, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna eat it. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So instead of saying no, come with facts. Okay, so if you eat clay like this, this could happen to you, or you know what I mean? So I feel like sometimes we want to be approached in a decent way because we are still human. And I feel like when we're looked upon, it's more like you're inhuman. Why are you eating dirt? Like something's wrong with you. You're crazy or something like that. And I feel like there's quite a few videos I've watched of women eating clay, and it's just so dirty. It looks filthy. So obviously, when someone looks at someone that has a clay addiction, they have that image in their mind of impurity, dirt, like messy and just, ungroomed, that kind of thing. So I feel like maybe we should kind of practice a clean way of eating clay and not like overdoing it, because I feel like that's another level of addiction where you cannot live a day without clay. And the fact that you have to have it, that could be like a serious problem that definitely needs to be checked on. you know I remember, like, back in the day, obviously when I was a child, there was not a lot of diversity. with clay eaters. It's either the young women or the pregnant women. Like you don't really see you didn't back then you didn't really see like a big variety of people that do eat clay and just having something in common. So obviously it felt like something you had to keep to yourself, because if you tell someone, you don't know if they could relate or not, or you don't know if they're going to bash you with the truth of, if you eat clay, doomsday is coming on you and all that kind of stuff. So thanks to YouTube and social media, now you can also see people all over the world that do have like a similar story to yours, like of eating clay and the addiction to soil. So that can actually be a good thing. So I feel like now we need to be more vocal about, why do we eat clay? What is your personal story? What's your personal journey with it? And is there a healthier way you can eat it? Because I don't think over consuming it and being open about it is okay. Because at the end of the day, you can't um support someone that's actually killing themselves whilst we're watching. You can't just feel like you can ingest that much of soil and not have any side effects, right? Because the whole point of soil is that it how can I say, it absorbs. So what if it's absorbing the good nutrients and the bad nutrients in your body? What if it's depriving you of things that you need? So I don't know if that makes sense what I just said, but I feel like, yes, let's support one another. At the same time, also let's care for one another. Let's not chastise each other because, oh, you're eating soy, and degrading each other, because at the end of the day, this is a condition and we're trying to find a way to say, okay, we can relate, but also this is a way you can manage this habit that you have. So I do support the whole diversity and the fact that some people, like, this is one thing that I experienced. One day I was on YouTube and then I found this Russian girl eating clay, and I'm like, wow. So immediately for me, the shame came off, because I'm like, if she's eating clay, I mean, like, why should I feel bad about it? Um, but I did feel sad, of course, and I'll keep saying it. I did feel sad the fact that these women do like swallow, do ingest this clay. I feel bad about it, but I love the whole fact that you get to hear different crunching sounds, you get to learn about different clays and all that stuff. Also feel like another reason there's shame around clay eating is because a lot of women have been taken to the hospital because all of a sudden they had to have operations on their body. And I guess, you know, I can only go by what they say, is because of their habit of eating clay. Some even had kidney stones and all kinds of stuff. And all of a sudden, it's just drawn to clay. Yeah, I've been eating clay and this is my story. And there's so many horror stories about eating clay. So obviously there's gonna be this shame blanket all over it, right? Um and yes, it's good to not have this addiction of eating clay. It's great. But at the same time, with these horror stories, obviously people are gonna start looking at you sideways if they just hear, oh, you eating clay? Okay, but I heard a girlfriend so and so was in hospital because of the same thing. Not everyone, ends up in the ER. Not everyone ends up under an operation table and all that stuff. So there's not enough in the sense of diversity, where there's people that have eaten clay for all their lives and have never been to hospital, and people that have eaten a bit and have been to hospitals. Like, we don't know all these stories. We only know about the horror stories. So I feel like it would be amazing if a lot of people, especially the ones that have clay addiction, if they could tell their stories of when they started, how they manage it, and how they eat it, and how some of them have never been to the hospital, and what are they taking, what supplements do they take, how do they manage their health at the same time if they're also ingesting clay, right? So, yeah, that's another reason that I feel like there's shame around clay. So, the last reason I have of why there's a lot of shame around people that eat clay is because of economic reasons. People feel like this is what I have seen, like this is the truth about what I've seen. People that eat clay, they think that they're poor, right? They are suffering. This is probably like a food supplement they're eating. That's what I've seen people think, like, no, clay is for people that are suffering. Why would someone living a decent, comfortable life feel like they need to eat clay? What is that about? And then again, people don't know why women have an addiction to clay. It doesn't mean if you're poor, you're gonna have to be addicted to clay. Every kind of woman out there has had someone they know that's addicted to clay, and they may not necessarily be like suffering, or yeah, they're probably not suffering and all that stuff. They're probably like, living a lavish life, living comfortably, and still they eat clay. But because I feel like there's so much shame in it, women that are probably in the suburbs kind of hide the fact that they eat clay because it's associated to dirt, to poverty, to just all these negative things. And I don't know when that blanket of shame will be lifted, but until then, I feel like some women will always kind of hide it, like, not expose it too much. So, yeah, that was very uncomfortable to mention, but I have seen that. I really have seen that. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm also guilty of that. I had to hide it, and obviously I couldn't tell too many people because obviously there we go again with the stories. But yes, that's my last reason of why I feel like there's this blanket of shame around people that eat clay. So this is the end of episode 2 for our African Clay Girl podcast, and we're just gonna keep going. If I didn't mention something about this topic, please do feel free to leave a comment below. Tell me why there is shame about you eating clay. Like, tell me your experiences that probably I haven't mentioned. And if you can relate, please do tell me as well in the comments below. I cannot wait to come back for episode 3. This is really interesting. Just getting to talk about clay and, just the problems and the good things that we experience in this little community of ours. So thank you so much for watching till the end. Till next time. Goodbye.